Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to the TFT Perspective. So, we're going to talk about Bollywood for now. There's a new movie upcoming, it's going to be released by 6th September. A very controversial movie regarding the 1974-75 emergency within India. And the entire movie is basically titled on the life of Indira Gandhi and her rule within India. But there are some controversies revolving around it since now what we have observed is that the producer, which is Miss Kangana Ranaut, who is also currently a member of parliament from the BJP, the ruling party side, has met a lot of criticism from the Sikh community and people from all walks of life within Punjab and Haryana. So, key features regarding this movie, especially its teaser trailer and its major trailer, in which Sikhs were portrayed as very violent, and the biggest figure amongst Sikh members within India and outside India, Mr. Jarnail Singh Bhindranwale, was portrayed as such as like a puppet of the Congress regime, especially of Indira Gandhi, where the huge criticism that comes up was primarily that Mr. Bhindranwale was inconclusive, and when it came to supporting Congress, he was ready to support them as long as Indira Gandhi foresees the image of Khalistan in the upcoming future or in the other governments. So we're going to discuss regarding this controversy. We have with us Mr. Wakar K. Korvi. Sir, this film, and we have seen previously observed as well, when it comes to targeting specific communities and different leaders that had lived past and had immense respect amongst different communities. How do you foresee the upcoming film and its release, whether this controversy is going to stay or it's going to pass on?
I think propaganda has been, one of the, I would say, favorite playgrounds of Bollywood. But it has become, I think, more pronounced and polarized since BJP came to power in 2014. So if you
Mhm.
look at that, especially targeting of Muslim community, and then if you look at targeting of nation states surrounding India, and then specifically trying to achieve, I would say, political agendas. Now, if you look at the timing of release of Emergency,
Mhm.
the film.
Yeah, it was
So
supposed to be released in June, I
June.
think. Yeah.
Maybe no, it was supposed to be released last year
Yeah.
in December.
Mhm.
And in June, we had Lok Sabha elections, and BJP was hell bent in winning, because they
Mhm.
wanted to, one, of course, definitely tell the Sikhs that they have a following in Indian Punjab.
Mhm.
And the other was stakes were high in terms of, numbers, because Mr. Modi was looking at, two-third majority, which he
Yeah.
never got. And you had the India Alliance.
The typical slogan of Char So Par.
Yeah, char so far.
Mhm.
So I think they were one was that. So it means that although this may have a plot, there may be certain facts in the movie, but one selection of Kangana Ranaut, who is a very very controversial figure, and if you remember farmers' protests,
Yes.
she was not only critical of farmers but also Sikh community, and even called them terrorists. So
Khalistani supporters.
Khalistani supporters.
Mhm.
So this is how I think they had planned. But then there was a resistance, as you mentioned. If you look at the list so far, of course, six. I think most important organization in Indian Punjab is Shiromani Gurdwara Prabandhak Committee, which basically looks after the Gurdwaras. I think they also have control outside India. Then Shiromani Akali Dal leaders, who are controversial, but even they have asked CM Punjab that should not be, released in Punjab, Indian
Mhm.
Punjab. And then you have, very interesting reaction from two MPs who were recently elected. One is definitely,
I'm pretty sure one is a son of a person who actually assassinated Indira
yeah.
Gandhi.
So Byan Singh's son, Byan Singh was the one who assassinated
Yeah.
Indira Gandhi. Mr. Sarbajit Singh Khalsa,
Mhm.
he was very vocal because I think they understand it that where they are going to be targeted. And then is I think Amritpal Singh, Varas Punjab, his famous name, and he's now
Under
being
arrest.
imprisoned. Yeah,
Yeah.
imprisoned in Assam, in
Mhm.
one of the most, I would say, notorious jails of India, without any major charges. But he won from there. So these I think two leaders did through their, I would say, emissaries passed the comments that should not be allowed. And then, of course, you have Gurcharan Singh Grewal of SGPC or the Shiromani Gurdwara Param. And then there's been a resonating, protest by the Sikh community in the Sikh diaspora, whether it's Canada,
Mhm.
you've seen the social media. I think there's a big debate going on.
And the
So
assassinations that took place last year as well.
exactly. So I think all told, this one, of course, I don't foresee it will be launched in Punjab.
Hmm.
Now there is also, because if you look at Haryana, substantial percentage is a Sikh community. There are Punjabi-speaking people, but definitely Hindus and Sikhs and Muslims live together. So there's, I think, almost 25 to 30% Sikh community.
Hmm.
Maybe they also object to it, and then you will find it maybe resonating in other states in India. So let's see how they manage it. But this has been the hallmark of BJP government. They would try to, incite violence within communities. If you remember, there was also in Karnataka, I think, a book written, and then there is a movie which either has come up or it was on Tipu Sultan.
Yes.
And
Yes.
again, who's a universally recognized freedom fighter for entire India,
Yeah.
but BJP would like to make him controversial. So all told, I think this is how they target minorities, and unfortunately, emergency is going to create an emergency in India, I think.
Yeah, definitely. So we had seen BJP's past, especially when it comes to handling media. Recently, in 2022, they released a movie called The Kashmir Files and the Kerala Story. And primarily, it was based on Kashmiri pundits and their, issue within Kashmir and the allegedly genocide that took place over there. So I have I have few statements from a Kashmiri Pandit himself. He shared an article in Al Jazeera in which he pointed out, I'm just going to read it from here, that after the movie was screened in one of the cinemas, there was a man wearing the saffron turban and robes of a Hindu preacher stands against the plush red interior of a cinema. In one hand, he carries a shiny steel trident, a traditional weapon of the Hindu gods, and in the other, a mobile phone. As the music flows over the end titles of the film, the bearded Swami begins a chilling exhortation. You have all seen what happened to the Kashmiri Hindus, he says, gesturing towards the screen. That this is why Hindus must protect themselves against the treachery of Muslims and prepare to take up arms. And that if we do not take any more action, the Kashmiri Pandit's blood would be looked upon as just spoiled up water. So, are we going to witness the same thing with Sikhs now?
I think they've tried it, and it was before this last election.
Mm-hmm.
And the aim was to divide, get the Hindu vote. And unfortunately for Mr. Modi, I think they lost from some of the seats from Uttar Pradesh
Yeah.
and from the hotbeds of, like Vanasi or areas.
Cowbelt completely surprised them. Yeah.
Cowbelt also. Now, if you look at, resonating of these ideas, it has been happening since BJP came to power. And I think we discussed it in some other program that there were calls for Muslim genocide by, some Swamis
Yes.
in Juna Akhada. This was basically, in Hardwar. And there were a lot of Swamis which gathered, and then there were calls to, buy arms, get prepared, and there's a final. And there are I think leaders from Vishwa Hindu Parishad. There are leaders from RSS who openly called for genocide of Muslims. If you look, remember CAA and Citizen Amendment Act, how it was, how Muslims were targeted. Even Shaheen Bagh Muslim protest by women was, basically targeted. So this has been because they feel that the two communities. I think there is also a psychological. One is the Sikhs being empire builders.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at, it was a minority, but they were able to establish an empire from Indian Punjab right up to Kabul.
Yes. Yes.
Maharaja Ranjit Singh, and then they had very flamboyant, generals. So who basically united Punjab, and they ruled it for 100 years plus. But they know the Indians or the, let's say, RSS know that Sikhs have that tinge or let's say capacity and I would say spirit to rise for their, let's say, cause. Again, Muslims definitely have a long history, almost 800 years of Muslim rule. If you look at initial stages, then Delhi Sultanate followed by the Mughals,
Almost 1,000 years of
almost
rule, yeah.
1,000 years. So there is a psychological, I think, I would say, inferiority complex also. They would like to erase, and if you people say this, you travel in India, every 10 miles you will find, some Muslim monument because they ruled it. They definitely brought major changes. They united India, despite, criticism of Aurangzeb, especially. Mr. Shashi Tharoor had to acknowledge that
So
in his time,
23% GDP.
26% of global GDP. India
Even
was,
during the fall of
yeah,
the entire
because after
Mughals.
that
Yeah.
it was falling. So at that time, this was I would say, a superpower economically and militarily. So it means that Muslims did leave, an imprint. And this, British Raj and all their development, I think I would say it's a big whitewash of history, not studied object. So I would actually recommend everybody to read Mr. Shashi Tharoor's book, Inglorious Raj, in which, he gives all
Yeah.
these figures. So there is basically, and I always say that BJP has to demolish 4 walls of perception. One is, of course, link, because it's 2,000 years of slavery. So even before Muslim,
But this, perception and propaganda didn't work for them because of the election results. So why they are continuing with this theory?
I think it was I would say it's a kind of, now they have to do it. They've spent a lot of money and they would like to release it and still make things controversial. So I was just talking about, one is, of course, wall of perception is that you have to link, Mauryas and Gupta's time to current time. So just they want to forget about 2,000 years what happened in between. Then there is a Muslim rule and its perception for 1,000 years or 800 years. So this has to be demolished. Then there is a British rule. Again, if you look at that inferiority complex. And then comes the Congress's, secularism and rule.
So
They would like to demolish
Indian
it.
history basically starts from what, 2014?
2014.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you should actually link it with Mauryas and Guptas,
So in between there is
there's
just
nothing.
nothing.
And even if you look at, their heroes, Bajirao Mastani and all that. Yes, there have been. I'm not saying heroes. But mainly India was subjugated by a smaller nation. So I think this is a continuum they would like to. Now, I would also like to highlight, the personality of Janayat Singh Bhindranwala. It's very important.
Yes.
If you remember, in June 6th, 1984, Operation Blue Star was launched, and Bhindranwale was martyred, I think, on that
The
date.
entire Golden Temple was
Were
demolished.
demolished. Just imagine Golden Temple like their Makkah and Medina of
Yes.
Muslims. And General Barar and his team just, ransacked it. And even I think they killed General Shabik Singh, who was fighting flamboyantly. So mainly Bhindranwale had a struggle. And it has nothing to do with, let's say, getting some favors from Indira Gandhi. He started his Dharam Yudh Morcha even much before that. And this was a protection of culture of Sikhs, Like, there was a trend of cutting hair because in Sikhs, those 5 Ks are very important, 5
Yes.
castes. Then he was against consumption of liquor or drugs because then it had started spreading. And then other, cultural aspects, how you should dress it up. So he was, I think, very, very, I would say, culturally very strong, and that's why he is known as Sant or Saint, Sant Janayat Singh Bhindranwale. And 99% of Sikh will not take any nonsense regarding Janayat Singh Bhindranwale. So if you are projecting in this movie, you're trying to undermine his personality, you can't do it. Neither Sikh diaspora nor Sikhs of Indian Punjab or Haryana. Now, then you had Anandpur Sahib resolution was brought by Sant Janayat Singh Bhindranwale. And mainly it was basically regarding irrigation water. If you look at the water distribution within India, of course, Punjab and Pakistan, India, water were right, but then they were doing enough water within India. A lot of water was then given to other states like Rajasthan and certain other states. So Punjab felt that their water is stolen and their irrigation and agriculture was for rights. So if you look at the end of Operation Blue Star, if Janayat Singh Bhindranwale was so close to Indira Gandhi and she was the one, so this has been, I think, even I've seen some of the research analysis being senior officers trying to basically Sarkari Sikhs, I would say, trying to build up this narrative that he was very close and mainly he wanted. So one, of course, they are saying
primarily that's the reason why tanks, were used in Operation Blue Star in order to just completely demolish it. Because he was very close to Indira Gandhi.
He was very close. And then, of course, is that probably Indira Gandhi had agreed to an independent Khalistan and all that. So basically, it was to create a rift between let's Sikhs community and Congress.
Hmm.
Of course, Congress has also stained hands with a lot of
The
Sikhs.
India Alliance had won around 14 seats from Punjab.
Yeah,
That's a big
so
concern for
that's where,
BJP as
yeah.
well. Yeah.
So I think this is very important to understand that this movie is a kind of continuation of RSS and BJP's policy.
The Indian government, with joint production of Bangladeshi media, was released a movie which was based on Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. And do you think it produced the result what India wanted with what the fallout in Bangladesh is right now?
I think that is again a tragedy. Although Sheikh Mujib is a legendary figure in Bangladesh and in
Hmm.
South Asia, we acknowledge his struggle.
Hmm.
But definitely he was responsible for breakup of Pakistan. And the joint production between India and Bangladesh can be said then was a joint production between Modi and Sheikh Hasina.
Definitely.
$7.1 million was spent. And if you look at, they put Mr. Arifin Shubu is a very famous
Hmm.
Bengali actor, and it was produced by Mr. Shyam Benegal. He's again an old timer. Normally, he does work on I would say unconventional films. So this was launched in 2023, and of course there was certain controversy regarding where it should be launched. I think they started from India, and then landed up in Bangladesh. The aim was not only to project Sheikh Mujib, but basically to undermine Pakistan. So that
Hmm.
was the common aim. Now, did they achieve that result? I think it is very clearly visible in Dhaka
Hmm.
that let's say in 7 to 8 months after release of this film, if Sheikh Mujib's statue has been brought down, and
Statues.
statues, yes, statues
Hmm.
have been brought down. So I think this $7.1 million has gone, down the Bay of Bengal.
Hmm.
So I would basically end it here. That at time, your propaganda will boomerang,
Hmm.
and at time, you would like to develop certain perception about, as you said, about communities, about nations. It can't be, let's say, without popular support or popular understanding. So Bengalis, I think, understand it better than Mr. Modi or Sheikh Hasina, and they have shown that whether this was a success or a failure.
Yeah. Uh, Last question I wanted to add was that um, back in 30s, the same kind of propaganda was also done against the Jewish community by the Nazis inside Germany. We saw the earlier perception being built up, the long nose argument, the greedy Jew argument. All these features were very much visible in Nazi productions, especially when their entire perception was to get rid of this community, since Nazis believed that they were causing the global issues and problems within Germany as well, and separating the entire part of Greater Germany and that entire concept. But at that time, information was very scarce. The international community was not that much strong. Now everybody has almost a say on social media. What do you think are the key objectives of the BJP? Since if they want to rule India and they want to develop India or whatever features they want to, or they want to have a majoritarian rule inside India, can they achieve this by having communal violence on a repeated basis within India and keeping government over there as well?
I think it's a very, very absurd policy.
Hmm.
Uh, but I wish they continue. I actually pray that Modi should continue for another 15 years if he has long life, because he's going to undo a lot of things in India that nobody could do. So one is, of course, drawing inspiration from Nazi ideology. I think it requires a lot of detailed
Mein Kampf
discussion.
is the most
Yeah.
famous book inside India these
Now,
days.
even you look at the rise of Nazi party in Germany.
Mhm.
Basically, it was Mr. Eckhart, then taken over by Hitler in 20s, 1920s.
Mhm.
Same time, Savarkar and Golwalkar were writing their manifestos here.
Mhm.
And you find the emergence of Hindu Mahasabha and later on RSS. So it means the timings are same. They were also getting inspiration. And if you look at, as you mentioned about Nuremberg laws,
Yeah.
that you outcasted Jews, let's say the people would not marry Jewish
Bulldozing Jewish homes, properties.
properties. And now, if you look at, and then using mass propaganda
Mhm.
by Goebbels, now bring it here now into this century, what RSS has done, especially after 2014. If you look at Muslim community, exactly same Nuremberg laws are, applied here. Like love jihad,
Yeah.
beti bachao, ghar wapsi.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have cow slaughter. You have vigilant groups, who would
Mm-hmm.
actually lynch Muslims on the
Gao
streets.
Rakshak.
Cow rakshaks.
Mm-hmm.
And now they talk of, land jihad. Matlab, it's just, if you look at, Republic TV, or I would say the social media platforms who have a lot of following in India. I mean, they're just living in an echo chamber. But I think what has happened to Moody, because this was the beginning of, I think, I would say, uh, or reaching a stage where they could declare Hindutva Republic
Mm-hmm.
after this. Yeah, so there has been a pushback from four corners of India against the cow belt and the idea of Hindutva. So you had South, Mr. M.K. Stalin from Tamil Nadu, you have Kerala, West Bengal, Mamata
Mamata
Banerjee,
Banerjee. Mm-hmm.
and she's under a lot of pressure, what they are trying to do. Indian Punjab, and even
Mm-hmm.
Northeast.
Mm-hmm.
Northeast is actually almost out of control. We don't count Indian occupied Kashmir to be part of
Now
India.
problems are also arising within the cow belt as well, even in UP.
In UP, because they were high-handed. They were saying that probably Hindu vote is guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
So it means that now there's a big tussle going on. I think why they're trying to revive, Hindu Khatre Mein Hai and all that after Bangladesh debacle, which I think everybody's saying that why research analysis wing was sleeping. So it's a big slap on their face that they didn't, one, they didn't guide Miss Hasina Wajid. The other was that this revolt came without any, I think, preparation by Raw how to handle
Mm-hmm.
it. But now they again have an opportunity to revive Hindutva. That's
Mm-hmm.
where you find the mainstream media trying to now, I would say, suppress and oppress the voices of reason.
Mm-hmm.
And they find, and it's very very absurd that something which actually goes against the grain of India. Ultimately, you look at this 1.45 billion people. It's actually the minority suppressing the majority.
Yes,
Look at Mandal Commission.
we can
You
find
have
all that.
you
Yeah.
have 23% upper caste, which is Brahman, Kshatriya, and Vaishya. Rest everybody is oppressed. You have Shudras, you have Dalits, you have Muslims, Muslim like maybe 250
Sikhs,
million
Christians, and others. Yeah.
Christian, and then Adivasis.
Yeah. And
People
OBCs, other
OBC,
backward classes. Yeah.
yes. So all told, I think this is the grand tussle, and let's hope for the best. But I feel that in case BJP keeps moving, India is looking at disintegration in near future.
Yeah, but that's it for today, folks. Thanks for watching us. Please do leave a like and subscribe our channel. Thank you so much. Bye bye.